What's going on, everybody? This is your boy J Dash with another edition of Crash with Dash, and this is a Art of Attraction Fridays, is what this is. Okay, so today is my day that or my hour that I dedicate to dating advice. Okay, so you may be wondering, who is this guy? Why would I even dare listen to this guy for dating advice? Well, uh, I have been a dating advice coach for probably about, oh man, literally probably about 15 years. Have I helped people with dating questions, people from around the world. Used to be a part of an internet dating show that was very popular back in the late 90s and all the way through the 2000s. And yeah, so that's where I got the majority of my mindset, and also just through life experiences. Okay, I don't consider myself to be a guru per se, but I do consider myself to be somebody who can help those in need with just, you know, dating questions. Um, there's definitely information you can grab from me that will either make your circumstances better or give you a fresh start, because some of you all are either stuck in a rut if you're listening to this, or you've never gotten a chance to introduce yourself to the world and the world of dating, and I'm here to help those people out. Okay, uh, so even though the show is called, and just for starters, even though the show is called Art of Attraction Fridays, it's really just a catchy name to try to get people to tune in. There really is no such thing as the art of attraction. Okay, I am somebody, I don't believe in the word game. Whenever you talk to people and like, oh, this person's got game, this person's got no game. I will say this: there's such thing as this person has no game, but there's no such thing as game. Okay, but there are some people who are so lost that the easiest way to uh, basically explain their situation is that they have no game. But the word game itself is not a reality. Okay? So if you ever hear me use it, you have every right to correct me, because I don't believe in quote unquote game. Okay, so this is where I'm going to take a different approach than most dating advice people. There is no such thing as a magic pill. There's none of that you can do that will suddenly make you uh, the man of every woman's dream. That is not a realistic expectation. If that is your expectation, you've got bigger problems than I can help you with, and I'm just gonna be flat out honest about that. So don't even really worry about the show title. It's just really, as I said, it's just a catchy name, and it works. And whatever, if I can come up with something that'll change to make it sound better and more meaningful, I will. But for right now, Art of Attraction Fridays is what it's going to be. So, with that out of the way, as I said, I'm a bit older than probably the majority of people here on Twitch, so I've had a lot of experience. I've had a lot of experience dealing with people in general, because women are people. Let's not get that confused. Women are not angels that were sent upon earth, upon heaven. Women are not flowers that were brought about and illuminate the world with their presence. And I'm not saying that I dislike women at all. I'm not saying that women are a problem. I am not a sexist. I believe in women's equality. I believe in all those things. But we will never pedestal women or people per se. Like, it's just not the way you do it. Okay. But nowadays, everything's changed for me, because I'm sure if I raise my hand one day, this will come about. I am married now. Thus, there is no more of me going out there and talking to women and doing this and doing that or whatever. And honestly, I'm kind of glad that those days are over, just because after a while, it gets kind of tiring. You get kind of bored of it, and even when you have the itch to go back out there just to to have fun with the mixing, you start to realize that it's not all it's cut out to be anyway. So from my perspective, I'm very happy that it's actually over anyway. So yeah. So I'm not going to even try to hide it. As I said, if I did try to hide it, it would have gotten exposed eventually because I would have been doing something on either my wrestling show or raising to scratch my eye or something, and people would have spotted it. And I'm not going to sit here and take off my wedding ring. I'm not going to pretend to be somebody I'm not, which is actually a very important piece to this whole puzzle. So yes, I am married, but that does not mean that I don't have knowledge, because I do have knowledge um, about all of this. Okay, and so that's with that out of the way. Don't expect to say, well, let me see you go out and do this and this with a girl and see how long it takes you to do and this and this. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to disrespect my wife in any way, shape, or form just to amuse or try to prove something to you all out there. If you need that proof, as I said, there's other people out there that you can listen to. This is definitely not the show for you. Okay. Another thing I want to give you guys a heads up on is no one has all the answers in this world. In the world of dating, as I said, there's no magic pill you can take that'll make you the most desired man on the planet. There's nothing that you can do that will work with every single woman. Every woman is different. Remember, as I said, they're people. That'd be like saying that we are all the same. We are not all the same. As gentlemen, we are not all the same. So we can't expect every woman to be the same. Thus, there is no magic pill, and nobody has all the answers. There's not one person who can give you the perfect response for every situation. They can tell you what they think is the best response, but how it plays out and what you do with it, there's too many variables that come between it. There's too many nuances. The diction in which things are said, the connotation of how you express things, and all those things matter. When if somebody were to say, hey, well, why don't you tell her this? Well, it depends how you say it. And so there's a lot of variables that go into play. So as I said, nobody has all the answers, and even if you use the right diction or enunciation on the word to make it have a certain connotation, it doesn't mean that it's going to work on every single person. So no one has all the answers. So if you're expecting one person out there, if you meet anybody who says, I have all your answers, they may have all your answers to make you a better person when it comes to this, but they don't have all the answers for every situation, because that's impossible. So don't expect that either, okay? But yes, as I said, I do have enough to help you men out there. And I will reiterate that even though this is called Art of Attraction Fridays, honestly, I can help men better than I can help women. I'm not going to lie about that. My advice comes from the perspective of a male. I am a male. I have always been a male. I've always been happy being a male. And so all of my experiences come from the paradigm of being a male. That does not mean I can't help women. I've helped plenty of women in my day as a dating coach. But this show is designed from the perspective of helping men. It is not from the perspective of helping women, unless women want to chime in with a question, or if women want to send me a question on my email, you can click the image for contact us below and send me a question, and then yes, I can dedicate a section, or if a woman wants to be brave enough to come on and chat with us, that's fine too. I can design episodes around helping women as well, but for the most part, this is about helping men, and not saying that the advice I'm giving is not helpful to women. It definitely can be, because a lot of it is there's no sex restriction to it. It's you're a human, and these things apply to humans, and as long as you're a human, these rules can apply to you. Okay. But let's get on to at least a good topic to start with, okay? And this, as I said, from the perspective of men. But here we go. Just to give you guys an introduction on, so you guys can get an idea of where the show will be heading. We're going to kind of have a topic today, and I understand that right now I have no viewers, but this will be in the archives, and I will try to put everything in the archives after the 24-hour period that Twitch has set up. I will try to get these things into the archives, just so people can basically, get an idea of the direction the show is, or if redundant questions keep coming up, I can just direct people to the archives, thus saving time and sticking to the episode at hand or the topic at hand without deviating or losing too much time. So my biggest thing is that most of the guys that need help have this one issue, and it is an issue of fear. Okay? There are a lot of men out there that are afraid of women. And you may think to yourself, I'm not afraid of women. I mean, I have women at my job. I sit next to women in school, and while I'm in college, there's women that are all around me. I'm not afraid of them. I don't run them. And I don't mean that way. I mean, a lot of guys are afraid of women saying no in any way, shape, or form. Any form of rejection. There are a lot of men out there that are just afraid of rejection. And what I mean by that, men, for example, if they see a cute girl and they look at her and they decide, I'm going to smile. Well, if the woman doesn't smile back, they feel like they've been rejected. Thus, it hurts their confidence. Okay, if they say hi to a woman and she doesn't respond with anything, they feel rejected. Thus, it hurts their confidence. Men have gotten to the point where they self-validate themselves based off of the response of women. And that is one of the biggest problems. Your confidence, your being, your makeup does not come from the reaction of women. You create yourself, and you need to be happy with the creation that you've made, thus depowering the validation of women. This is one of the biggest problems. This is the biggest problem for men out there who are trying to meet women, or men out there who are trying to, date women. No matter what what state of mind you're in, whether you just want to date, whether you're looking for a serious relationship, when you're just trying to get yourself out there. The biggest problem with men is that, I repeat, they look to women for validation versus themselves. If this can be mastered, then you are someone who can be helped. If this cannot be mastered, it doesn't matter what anybody does for you. You are unhelped. I don't even think that's the word. You cannot get help. As long as you continue to look for women for validation of yourself, you will never be able to get over the fear of rejection. And that is, as I said, the biggest problem. So, a little trick that you can use to help yourself get over the fear of rejection is to get yourself used to rejection. Okay? And what do I mean by that is just literally, and I'm from the South, so this is considered a norm. This is considered a standard. You can do this, and nobody will think you're weird. Nobody think anything of you. And if you're in a place where they do, let them think you're weird because you're not doing anything. So something that you can do is you can walk up to women, or not walk up to them, but as you're crossing paths, that doesn't mean run out of the way because here comes a girl, but as you're going about your daily business, whenever you see a woman, just say hi. And do this to all women, especially women that you feel are attractive. Okay? Because there's going to be a lot of women that are going to respond the appropriate way, which is say hello. And you just keep on going about your merry way. I'm not saying stop to talk. I'm not saying do any of that right now. You are not ready for anything like that. Your objective is just to get over your fear of rejection. So you're just going to say hello and not even wait for a response, but hopefully you'll get a response. Because, as I said, a lot of women are going to do the right thing and say hello back because there's nothing wrong with saying hello as you're walking by. But there's going to be a lot of women, and especially, I can't wait till this happens when you're dealing with a woman that you deem attractive, that you deem God's gift to the planet, or whatever, a woman that you are pedestaling, and she has one or two reactions. Number one, does absolutely nothing and keeps walking. Or number two, looks at you as if you're crazy. Okay? Those are the two normal reactions that will help you get over this fear of rejection. Because once this happens enough, you're going to start to get used to it. You get desensitized from women basically either not responding or responding and looking at you as if you have a problem. And as I said, you've done nothing wrong. I'm not saying gawk at a girl and walk by and, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, as you, hey, how's it going? Something like that. Very casual, very comforting, and no hidden agenda behind the hello. I'm saying as long as you do it the correct way. And I didn't say, hey, what's up, girl? I didn't say do anything like that. I said say hello, okay? Because we're looking for ladies. We are looking for, quality women here. And, if you are, not everybody is. And I can't knock that person who's not. I mean, at the end of the day, we should know how to deal with the types of women that are out there. And we can go over things like that later. But as I said, you should be able to casually just say hello. And when you get those rejection moments, whether it's, nothing, a zero response, or it's, as I said, a look of disgust, then you are on the path to getting over your fear of rejection. Because once it happens enough, you're going to start to not care, or you're going to start to think, damn, that person has a problem, which actually is the correct way to go. So that's what you want to build up. Okay, you want to build this idea that I'm going to get rejected, and I'm going to get rejected more so than I'm not going to get rejected, because that happens to every single guy out there. Every single guy, unless you're Brad Pitt walking around with, basically nothing but luxury on and walking around with loads of money into every place he goes, you're going to get rejected by more women than you're not going to get rejected. And I guarantee you there's a lot of women who would reject Brad Pitt as well. Okay, even though he's walking around with all, blinged out and he's got money all in his pockets. So that's something to keep in mind as well. So, this is just an exercise that you could do that'll help you do two things. Number one, get comfortable with at least starting initiation with a female by saying hello. It gets you over the fear of that, and it gets you over the fear of rejection. Because as I said, women are going to reject you. And that is A-okay. That's actually part of everything. And once you can establish that this is the norm, then you're good. If you can never get over that, then as I said, there's not just me. I can't help you. Nobody can help you. Okay? So that's your exercise to deal with fear. Okay? Now, the other big issue that I've noticed with guys is that they don't understand that the art of attraction is not what I can do to better my chances with women. It's what I can do to better my chances with me. And what do I mean by that? I mean, men have a hard time developing the confidence necessary to go out there and attract a female. Women, just like everybody, is attracted to confidence. And what I mean by everybody is I'm not saying that, whether, if that is your thing, this is not anything anti-LGBTQ, but what I mean is if you go out there and you're in the business world, like confidence is something that people are drawn to, people who get good jobs and things like that. It's because when they're in their interview, a lot of them have the confidence that is necessary. There are a lot of people out there that are book smart that are not socially smart. And really, that's one of the things that people have to understand is that in this world, you need both intelligences to really make it big in the corporate world. There are a lot of people that are book smart that are just doing grunt work for the person that's social smart. The person that's social smart is their boss. But their boss may not know how to do what his workers know how to do, But he, because of his confidence, the way he presents himself to the administration above, his social intelligence is why he's in the place he's in, because we can always find someone to do the work that is necessary for the person that is book smart. Okay, that's just a grunt. Yes, you have the intelligence that we need. We're going to pay you for that, but we're going to pay this guy who knows how to relay information and knows how to converse better, or knows how to get along with his bosses better. We're going to give that person the position that you may feel that you deserve. But you have to ask yourself, do I have the social intelligence to be in the position of said boss? Because I've met a lot of people who, as I said, are very book smart, but due to their lack of social intelligence, they struggle with relationships with anybody, with any person, whether it be man, woman, or child. And so what I'm saying is, we are going to need to focus on confidence, social confidence, okay? Social IQ. And I feel that that is one of the biggest drawbacks to most guys, because people, not just women, are attracted to confidence. As you'll see, as I said, this is, even though it's called The Art of Attraction, and it's labeled under pretty much like a dating advice show, this is not really going to be a lot of dating advice unless you have a direct question. It's going to be more self-help that will somehow, magically, you're going to end up realizing, man, I'm getting more dates. As a matter of fact, I'm going to edit this right now so that it says that it'll say, like, boom, dating advice. I need to put that there because it says Art of Attraction. Not everybody knows what that means. But you'll see that it's more of a self-help than it is a flat-out, dating advice show, because that's what generates attraction. The thing that generates attraction is confidence, and so we're here to establish confidence in you, so that you have enough confidence to basically, number one, approach women. Number two, deal with rejection without feeling ashamed of yourself or bad about yourself. Because remember, do not let women validate your worth, especially to yourself. Do not let women validate your worth, especially to yourself. On the same note, that does not mean go out there and be an asshole. I'm not telling you to be an asshole. All right? If you go out there and you act like an asshole and you're confident and act like an asshole, you're not really doing anything. Like, how is this helping you? Because, one of these days you'll get checked. And the streets check harder than anything I can do or anything like that anyway. So it'll come back to you tenfold. I don't believe in karma, but I just believe that when somebody acts like an asshole, things that happen to assholes happen to them. And I don't necessarily think that's karma. That's just the way things work. So there's a difference between being a prick and being confident. Now, this does not, and going back to the asshole thing, a lot of women may think confident guys are assholes, and that doesn't mean that you are being an asshole. So don't get those two confused. If you know for sure that you are not being an asshole, yet a woman keeps declaring you or labeling you an asshole, there is a big difference between the two. Okay, there are some women out there, just like there are some people out there, and as I said, I don't want to just single out women, and I'm not going to keep doing this. It just needs to be understood that whenever I'm saying this, is because we're talking about a male's perspective of meeting women. There are some women out there that, because everything has been given to them that they have wanted, because of whether they be super attractive or they're very spoiled by their parents, that they have this sense of entitlement, that they deserve more than the average respect that you give any other person. These women right here will always view anybody who's giving them less than their expectations an asshole. And that is not you being an asshole, that is you dealing with an entitled person. So there's a difference. So when I say don't be an asshole, if an entitled woman thinks you're an asshole, that's okay. But don't go out there with the intentions of being an asshole and expecting, the greatest results. That's just not going to happen. So, confidence, going back to confidence. So as I said, we need to work on establishing true confidence, which means uh, self-intrinsic confidence, which means all of the confidence must come from self. You do not need extrinsic confidence. You do not need extrinsic motivation. Everything has to come from the inside. If it does not come from the inside, it is not authentic. It is not something that can self-sustain itself. It is not something that can be repetitive. That's the type of confidence we want. Okay, so if it's all extrinsic motivation that generates your confidence, then once the extrinsic liar goes away, you will not have the confidence that is necessary to be successful in the world of dating. So, everything is about you. Okay? And so, right now, you have to look at yourself. And honestly, you have to rate yourself as far as how much do I enjoy being me? Okay? Because I can tell you right now, if you were to ask me on a scale of 1 to 10, how much do I enjoy being me? The answer is 1,000. Okay? And that does not mean that I have a big ego. That does not mean that, I am a prick or, man, this guy is, he's just full of himself. No, it's not that. I have made many mistakes in my life. I have been able to live with all the mistakes that I've made, and at any given day do I not wish I was somebody else. I am happy with who I am. I'm happy with where I am in my life. Sure, there are things that I want to change or things I want to make better, but that's because, as I said, I'm always about self-improving. I'm always about helping myself reach a higher status. But I'm happy with the progression that I'm making. I'm happy that I'm able to sit there and talk to you all about this stuff. And so, yes, this is why I feel the way I do. Now, if you were to ask me before I got married, how would you rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10? The answer would still be 1,000. Okay? Because prior to me, marriage did not make me who I am. Marriage did not create the person that is talking to you right now. All right? I created enough confidence in myself previous to meeting my wife, and my confidence is actually part of the reason why I am right now married, due to my confidence that I've had in myself. And I said, I don't have a big ego. I help a lot of people out and things like that. It's not like I walk around saying that I am the best person on the planet. Everybody should want to be me. No. In my eyes, I could be the best person, but I do understand that I'm just another cog on the wheel. I'm the same as everybody else. I'm no different. I'm going to die. I get all those things. So as I said, I'm not an egomaniac. I do understand the limitations of the human body. But I don't sit back there and say, speaking of Brad Pitt, where you find out all the women that he's dating, or when Leo DiCaprio breaks up with, supermodel, Zeta, because he's dated so many supermodels. I can't even remember Bar Raffaelli, who's, one of the queens of supermodels. You see him go out to Vegas. You read an article about him out in Vegas with a limo full of 20 different women. And you're sitting there thinking, wow, that must be incredible to be Leo. And sure, that's incredible, but I would never say, man, I want to be Leo DiCaprio. Now, I'm not going to sit there and say that. Now, to have the perks of Leo DiCaprio would be one thing, but to say I want to be Leo DiCaprio, no. The perks, however, that's a different story. But yeah, so what I'm saying is, you need to literally sit there and you need to ask yourself, where do I rate myself? And if the answer is anything below a 10 on a scale of 1 to 10, then that's what we need to work on. We need to get it to where you're just confident in being yourself. And one of the problems with confidence is people always have excuses on why they can't be confident with themselves. For example, I'm not happy with my job status and I can't meet women in my current financial situation because what am I going to do when they have these expectations of me taking them out, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera? Well, that is not a financial problem. That is a confidence issue. Because there's a lot of women out there who are fine with you taking them out for a cup of coffee, which costs a couple of dollars. right? It costs a couple of dollars to go out and get a cup of coffee. There are a lot of women who just want the company of a confident, person who, as I said, if you're on your pathway to something better and you're in the situation that you're in, that's one thing. If you're in that situation with no exit plan, that's another thing. And as I said, there are a lot of women who see the potential in someone or see their true value, not their current value, and you are still open to those women. Now, we all know that there are women who could care less about your current state. They only want to deal with people who are currently rich or currently have, luxurious items that they desire, that they put a value on over the person. And you got to ask yourself, why do you want a person like that anyway? Because as I said, those people do exist. And not only do they exist, honestly, you'd be surprised to hear that there are a lot of guys who are messing with those girls who don't have the money that you think that they have. All right? Because at the end of the day, we've got to remember that women are just like men in regards of wanting the attention, wanting the connections, the physical connections with men, the mental connections with men. And if you're one of these girls who's, desires, a female who desires a man who's, got a super high net worth, it doesn't mean in the meantime of you trying to find that guy that you're not having fun with another guy, because they have the same desires that men have. Like, that's why I said we cannot try to pedestal women and make it seem like that they don't go through the same thing as men do. They do, in some ways different, but don't think that woman who, oh, well, I have to have this and this to get her. Well, there's somebody who doesn't have that and that who's got her. All right, or at least who's at least currently in the situation, or has the pleasure of having fun with that woman at this current state in time. So as I said, your financial situation is an excuse. Oh, well, I've got to do this, I've got to do that, or else she'll realize this. That all those are excuses that you're letting devalue your own perception of yourself. Okay, you're self devaluing yourself. Sorry, I know I'm using a lot of redundant words. You are basically taking away from your own value, and it is a mental block that you created. It is not a real mental block. This is a mental block that you've created against yourself, and that's the worst you can do is create your own mental blocks, your own mental obstacles to get over, and because you're making up excuses, and these excuses are hurting your confidence. You're validating your excuse to not approach women. Whenever you come up with those things, you're validating, you're giving yourself everything you need to stay comfortable. And right now your comfort level lies in not approaching women. Okay? And so that's why you can't do that. All right, you cannot do that. So never have an excuse, because the thing is, you run into women everywhere you go. You run into women at the grocery store. If you're at a gym, you see women at the gym. When you go to the movies, you see women. Everywhere you go, you see women. So the thing that I think a lot of people struggle with is this idea that I can only talk to women at the bar or the club. And I'm going to let you know right now that going to the bar or going to a club are some of the worst places on the planet to meet women. They are the worst because women have the luxury of knowing, and if they don't know this, here comes the secret, women. You should know this. If you're a grown woman and you haven't figured this out yet, then what rock have you been hiding under? Women have the luxury of being sought after way more than men have. There are very few times where a man goes somewhere and women are the ones who approach the guy versus a situation where women are sought after. Women are sought after everywhere they go. There's always a guy trying to talk to her, no matter where she goes. A lot of times women are like, oh, no, he's just my friend. No, he's not. That is a guy that is coming for something that he wants from you. And sure, he's very friendly. Sure, you may call him a friend, but at the same time, if the offer ever came on the table, he's jumping. You don't even need to ask him to step in. He's jumping right in. So that's what I mean. Like where women have that. Okay, there will always be sought after. There's always going to be somebody who's trying to court them. Men don't have that luxury. Okay, so what I mean is when women go to a bar or a club, they already know that there's gonna be a lot of guys trying to court them. Like it's just written in the cards. It's etched in stone. They know this. So when women go to the club and bars, they're actually throwing on. Here's an analogy. Think of Iron Man. I know everybody's seen these MCU movies. I may not be the biggest fan of them, but I'm gonna use this as an analogy because this is common knowledge. A lot of people have seen these movies. Essentially, imagine that women have a closet full of Iron Man costumes that they wear whenever they go out because they know almost whenever they go out that there's going to be some dude who's trying to talk to them or who in their eyes is looking at them in a sexual manner or anything like that, which is not always true, but I do know that it is true a lot of times too. So sure, it's going to happen, right? Women when they go out, depending on where they go, they know if I go here, I'm gonna get it more so than when I go there. So before they go to the club or before they go to a bar, they put on the Hulk Buster Iron Man suit. All right, because they know that they're gonna get hit on by so many different dudes, by every angle possible, that they need to have their defenses up to the max. And that's what they do. They put their defenses on max alert. All right? Max alert. This is the doomsday clock, and we are striking midnight. Okay, whenever they go to a club or a bar, they know that they're striking midnight, so they better wear their biggest defense suit of armor that they could possibly have. And this is why when you go to the club or you go to the bar, women are mad, ready to reject anybody. They're straight up, like right off the top of their, tongue. Like it's before they even, their lips even start moving, you already hear the rejection coming. I remember back in the day, there was this one time I went to a club, and there was this girl coming out of the restroom, and she had a wad of nasty used toilet paper on the bottom of her shoe. And I was like, excuse me, ma'am, because I was going to tell her about, this wad of used toilet paper on the bottom of her shoe. And she turned around with one of these, hand things. And I was like, all right, because in her mind, she was already ready to reject me before I could even explain to her, like, look, I'm, sure, you have this ego, you're really not all that, and back in the day I was kind of ruthless, so I probably would have said that to her, but I'm trying to stop you over your shoe, over this wad of toilet paper. I'm not here to talk to you. But as I said, she had her Iron Man suit on. She was already ready to reject me before the appropriate time. And so it is what it is, and I'm not going to sit here and tell them not to do it. I'm not a woman. I'm pretty sure it can get obnoxious at times, but at the same time, everybody knows what happens when we go to a bar or club. We all know that this is what it's about. It's a place to mingle. It's a place for people to try to hook up. That's what bars and clubs are. And we could sit there and say, oh, it's supposed to be a place for socializing, this and this. Sure, but not always. We all know at the end of the day what types of bars and what types of clubs that people go to try to meet others. We all know that. So let's not even pretend like we don't. And if you're one of those people who's going to try to argue with me about that, as I said, that's a non-arguable thing. There's nothing to argue there. That's what a bar and a club are for. Those types of bars and those types of clubs are there for people who have, physical interests in somebody else to mingle, and that's what they're for in the story. So they're going with their Iron Man Hulkbuster suits when they go to those places. Now, I said a bar, but if you're going to go to a bar, happy hour is a healthy alternative. Happy hour is more of a socializing event. than a bar and a club are. It's just straight up there for socializing with um, young professionals most of the time. It could be older people, but young professionals go to certain happy hour spots to socialize. And you can easily find those. We live in the future, so you can find your socializing events just by talking or figuring out through the grapevine or expanding your connections. All right. So that's what I mean as far as that the bar or club and so don't, especially if you're starting. If you're starting, I'm not saying the club and bar you can't meet women. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that I've never met women at a bar or club. I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is, especially for those who are in the rookie stages of this or those who are trying to learn, avoid the bar and club at all costs. But yes, don't make up an excuse that you can't see women unless you go to a bar or club, because women are everywhere. Doesn't matter where you go, the grocery store, the bank. It basically you going about your day to day life. And if your day to day life is sitting at home on Twitch all day, then you need to start making some changes if you want all of this to change. Because you cannot meet women sitting at home on Twitch all day. It's just not going to happen. You have to get yourself out there. You have to do things. And as I said, this is all about the self help stuff that I was talking about earlier. You improving your situation with yourself is going to help you meet women. And sitting at home watching a stream all day is not a way to meet women. It's just never going to happen. Don't try it. Get yourself out there. So, and then the last thing that we're going to talk about, other than the confidence building and why you need to stop making up excuses for yourself on meeting women and fear of rejection, is expectations. There is nothing wrong with you, the man, having expectations that the female must meet. We're used to hearing things of, well, she, wants a guy who does this, she wants a guy who does that, and all of these things, but we never hear a man themselves setting expectations that she better do this and she better do that. I will say this. When I was growing up and people knew that I had a lot of expectations for a woman, people knew that, and a lot of guys just say, you know what, you're never going to meet a girl, you're never going to do this, you're never going to do that, you're never going to get married. Man, when you do get married, I got to see your wife, all of these things. Well, as I said, I am married now, and there was nothing wrong with me having expectations that a woman must meet, too. I'm not saying that a woman can't have expectations, but one of the most sickening things to me is when I went on to because I believe in trying all things. Dating websites. There's nothing wrong with trying dating websites either. For when I was talking to you all about ways to meet women, like other than going about your day-to-day lives, dating websites exist for a reason. There are a lot of women on those dating websites too that are looking to meet somebody, and your chances of meeting that woman would be zero unless you went on that dating website. So there's nothing wrong with using dating websites, by the way. So I'm not going to knock dating websites. But if you ever go onto a dating website, I give you the challenge to go onto any of these dating websites. And by the way, if you're going to use dating websites, I highly recommend paid dating websites. But if you're going to go on a dating website, just look at a lot of the profiles for women. A lot of the profiles for women have these expectation lists that are absurdly ridiculous. A man better do this. A man better do that. A man better do these things. He better make this much money. All these things that you look at, but then when you look at her profile as far as what she brings to the table, it is not anywhere near what her expectations are. So, I need to make over $100,000 while you just need to make 20. You have all these expectations. A man better not have kids, and I don't want a guy with kids. I already have kids. Wait a second. If you already have kids and you're making this expectation, I don't have a problem with that per se. But you can't be mad when guys hold you to expectations as well. If you're going to be very demanding on what you want as a female, then I'm telling you as men, be very demanding on what you want and what you are willing to accept. Anything that is beyond what you are willing to accept, don't accept it. It's that simple. It is that simple. You are not a bad guy for doing this. You are not an asshole for doing this. You are just being true to yourself. And why would you put yourself through misery just so you can say that you have the company of a woman? And I'm not saying all women do this. So I don't want anybody to sit there and say, man, he's talking down about women. I'm just saying, if you don't believe me, you can go onto any dating website and look at these profiles and you'll see what I'm talking about. Where there's a bunch of expectations, but they themselves don't meet their own expectations. So I'm telling you as a guy out there, it's okay to have expectations. And if women aren't meeting your expectations, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Because what we're going to be working on in the future episodes, as I said, is developing more value into yourself anyway. Now, there is a such thing, as I said, just like we're talking about these women with absurd amounts of expectations or an absurd, it's just absurd, overly absurd on what they expect. That can be true for you too. And in the process of you trying to find somebody who meets your absurd expectations, you're going to be throwing a lot of potential candidates down the drain because of this or that. So what you need to do is you need to make a tier list. And since this is Twitch, this is pretty much a gaming platform, we all know what a tier list is. You need to make a tier list of your expectations of women. And you can have they must have these qualities or must not have these qualities. Your top tier list things. And then as you go further and further down the tier list, these now become either works in progress, things that we can maybe work on, or things that I'll just have to deal with. Because I will say this, there is no such thing as a perfect person, male or female, A. And I personally don't believe in that one perfect soulmate. Okay, and I'm married, and I'm saying that. I just don't believe in that. I do believe, let's put it this way. When I see guys, or girls, it doesn't matter, kill themselves over a male or female rejection, or they broke up with a male or female. We have about, let's just roughly say, 8 billion people in the world. Okay? And I don't know the percent, but I know we do have more women than men. But let's just go 4 billion. If you put in a calculator, which I'm doing right now, 1 divided by 4 billion. Okay, so right now I'm up to 4 million, 4 billion. 0.00000000025 is the result. Why would you kill yourself over that? Like, there are so many other men and women out there that why do you feel that was your one shot? Like 0.000000025 was your one shot at finding happiness with somebody? Like, you got to be realistic. Like, just the numbers alone go against you. I mean, so for example, you live in a populated city. Let's just hypothetically say you live in a city of 2 million. Even if you just take the 1 and divide it by, I don't know, considering that there's children and things like that, I don't know, 600,000. Let's just hypothetically say 600,000. You're still at 1 divided by that. You're at 1.6, with the bar over it, e to the negative 6. I mean, why stress so much over that? Like, even within your own city, you can find someone else. Which is why breakups have never been that big of a deal to me. Just because I know that there are more people out there. I'm not saying that I will it, but if my wife and I were to ever get a divorce, I would know that I'd be okay. I already know that because the percents are in my favor to be okay. And probability states that I'll be able to find someone else that I can coexist with, hopefully, a permanent thing. Like, as I said, I got married because I wanted it to be a permanent thing, but I'm not going to go crazy over that percent. It's not worth it. It's not how things work. So, uh, so what I'm saying is like, don't sit there and have these absurd expectations, especially, I know this. I know that's a bad segue. So let me rephrase that. Number one, don't think that there is a soulmate, because I don't believe in soulmates. I believe that there are several people that we can be compatible with. You just need to find one of those many. But I was going to say, going back to the expectation things, remember, don't make the probability work against you by having an absurd amount of expectations. Yes, you are granted the access to some expectations. But as I was just talking about these profiles where the women have, it seems like an endless list of expectations. You don't want to be that person as a man to have an endless list of expectations. And what I mean by these expectations is looks should not be on your expectations list, because essentially you were physically attracted to somebody right off the bat. So looks should not be it anyway. So if in this list of expectations, looks doesn't count, because hopefully you're talking to somebody you're attracted to anyway physically. Thus, it's a given that looks are an expectation. So you can still have your tier list of expectations beyond looks. All right, and here's the last gem I'm going to throw at you guys before I start winding this down. I'm going back to the looks thing. At the end of the day, we as guys have to start, playing odds better. And what do I mean by playing odds better? Think of it this way. When I ask guys, and I learned this from somebody else. I'm not going to say that this is something I came up with on my own. This is somebody else who threw this gem to me, which after he said it, it was almost like, wow. Like, why didn't I ever look at everything this way? Because if I looked at all my situations in dealing with women this way, man, it would have been a lot easier. Hypothetically, I'm going to give you a hypothetical situation. Say you go out to a bar and you see a group of girls, and you're talking to a group of girls, and you're like, yeah, she's not so cute. She's not really for me. That girl over there, she's cute. She's cute. That girl's hot. That one, though, is exceptional. That's the one I want. Well, at the end of the day, as men, we all know we do this. We all know whenever we see women, and we're trying to engage with women as a single guy or whatever. I know some guys that are married and dating do it too. Whenever they're engaging with women and trying to meet women, they're asking themselves or they're answering one, like with two responses to the ultimate question: yes or no. And as a guy, you already know what I mean by that. When you see a girl, yep, or nah, not for me. Yep. So as I said, let's go back to the hypothetical situation. Because as I said, we're guys, we're simple, and by our nature, this is how we are. I'm sorry, if somebody's offended by that, that's just what we do. And from what I've heard from women, a lot of women do it too anyway, so I don't feel bad about it. As I said, don't feel bad being you. You go back to this hypothetical situation. The 4 girls that you see in a group. The one, I don't think she's very cute. She's not for me, which is fine, because somebody else is going to think she's cute enough anyway. The other one, yeah, she's cute. That means that, okay, let's go back. So the one that you said not so cute, that's a no. That's a no. You've already said no. The one that's cute, she's in the yes group. The one, she looks good. Boom. This one, she's hot. And then this one, she's exceptional. So you've basically said that there's 4 yeses and 1 no from this group of girls that you're talking to. Now, once you've gotten the skill or the ability to know how to engage a party of multiple women, and you engage them, one of the biggest problems I see is that as guys, we'll focus on like the exceptional. She's the exceptional. And it's almost as a failure mission if you don't get the exceptional. versus what you just told me. One no, four yeses. As I said, one of the guys I used to go out with a lot told me this, and it made so much sense that, as I said, I don't know why I didn't think of it before, but I won't take credit because I didn't come up with it. He basically said, when I said, "Hey, which one do you want?" in a situation like that, most people would say, "I want the exceptional one," and he that incorrect answer. The correct answer is whichever one wants you the most. Whichever one wants you the most is who you go after. Okay, that makes your job so much easier. And if you're young listening to this, if you're in your late teens or you're in your young 20s, it'll make so much more sense to you when you're my age that you might as well stick to it right now. You might as well incorporate it right now. Whichever one wants you the most is the one that you want the most and the one that you'll spend the most time with or trying to engage. Do not worry about the exceptional. Your day will come when the exceptional will want you the most, but you've got to play the game of probability in your favor. Do not go against the game of probability. Because as I said, when you get older and you start to realize, man, this is what, people are. So I don't mean to say this is what women are, because as I said, we're all unique, we're all individuals, but this is what it is. You'll start to realize as you get older, your physical standards decrease somewhat because there's other things that are more important to you anyway. So what I'm saying is, whichever one wants you the most, that's your goal for the night. Why make it difficult for yourself unless you just really want to challenge yourself, But at the end of the night, that's what you said you went out for to begin with. So, at least be victorious in that manner, right? But the day will come where the exceptional will be the one that wants you the most. But if you're looking at a situation of four yeses and one no, well, as long as one of the yeses wants you, go after that one. And now, as I said, later on we'll go around the idea of how do I approach a set of multiple women, like and because those are more advanced skills and more advanced lessons that we need to spend time in. But as I said, it's okay to have expectations as long as they're not absurd, and as long as you understand that if she's in the yes group, then you're money. If she's in the yes group, don't divide women into categories where there's only 2% of the women that you're going to talk to because only 2% of the women meet your expectations, and especially based off of physical appearances. Why go to 2 when you can have it at 50 for looks? She's either yes or no, and then your top 3 tier list items, and then everything else is either a works in progress or something that I'll just have to deal with. Your percent for women increases. Your percent in your pool increases. So, as I said, there's nothing wrong with you as a man having expectations and what you want in a woman. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that, and don't feel that there is. If women can do it, you can do it too. And you stick to your expectations, and as I said, never let looks do it. And as I said, just because she has these expectations, do not pedestal this girl to make sure that she's out of your reach, or don't try to meet her expectations. You meet your own expectations you set for yourself. Never try to meet somebody else's. You won't be happy. And at the end of the day, we're all about being happy with ourselves. Okay? So, as I said, to wrap everything up, this will go on the YouTube link down there in a day. In case you missed any of it, I see that there's a viewer out there. I do appreciate it. I will be doing this every Friday. And we will wrap the show up just by saying, guys, at the end of the day, this is not, I will reiterate this is not a gimmick on picking up women. This is a self-improvement show that the perks of self-improvement, the results are you will meet more women. And you just have to trust me on this. All right? So this is J-Dash signing off. I'll probably be back on later just playing some games. But if you have any topics, questions that you want to do about the Art of Attraction Fridays, we'll get to those next Friday. But don't be afraid to click that button above the contact us and send me an email. Don't be afraid of that. All right, I'm always willing. Or if you want to ever put something in the chat, for me to answer, play out there. If you ever want to put something in the chat, for me to answer, just do it next time. But I'll be on next Friday at 7 Eastern. Feel free to hit me up with questions. Remember, guys, I got your back. Women, I really want women to come on here. I really do. Do not be afraid of me. I think we can help each other out, and yeah, let's make this happen. Let's make this happen. This is going to be an every Friday show, and I got your back, guys. I got your back. At the end of the day, I got your back. All right, I'm gonna help you all out. All right, y'all take care, guys. I said I'll be back on later playing some video games. I don't know what I'll be playing yet, but if you subscribe or follow or whatever it is, you'll see whatever I'm playing. Just whatever I'm in the mood for. But all right, guys, I'll catch up with you all later. Peace.